Okay, so here's something I hate. When an article frames itself with a question. I don't know why they do this all the time in media outlets. They have an article and then they ask a question, and rarely ever does the article actually frame both sides of that question. Usually it has its own answer. So it's kind of bullshit that you've decided to ask the question to begin with, because you don't really genuinely give a shit what people think. You've already made up your mind. Now, I do the same exact thing, but I rarely ever ask the question because I don't give a shit what the answer is. I already think what I'm going to think. And in this video, we're going to talk about what I think about an article that I recently read that basically just asked the question in the headline, and then once you read it 2 paragraphs in, you realized, oh, this isn't a question, this is a statement from an asshole. The article in question was, should all games go open world? And it pains me because one of my favorite games of last year was heavily used in this article, Metal Gear Solid 5, which was a linear-esque game that always had open world elements to it, in that you had free exploration of the world that you were in, but it was always closed and very small areas to actually explore. Whereas Metal Gear Solid 5 went full-on open world where you could genuinely just drop in and do whatever the fuck you wanted. Now, the article basically came to the conclusion within 5 seconds, yes, all games should go open world. It's fucking pointless to do anything else. Fuck you. Oh, when a game can be made for $60 that's open world, then every other game is complete rip-off. I mean, that was basically what the article answered to. But here's my thing. Fuck you. Okay, I think we've done it. I think we're done. Okay. Oh, wait. No, we're not done. Basically, here's my opinion. Not that anybody asked, and not that I care if you've asked, because I'm going to give it anyway. The Last of Us is one of the best games I've ever played. Same with Uncharted. Naughty Dog does a great job at telling a story. Now, I've heard plenty of people that won't play that game because they're not into the fact that it's a linear game, that you're rail-lined along a set path. Even if there is exploration within those set paths, you're still walking from point A to point B. And that's okay if you don't like that. But say it like that. Say it like, I don't like that. I'm not into that. Because the minute you say, oh, well, that's fucking stupid because Grand Theft Auto is open world and The Last of Us isn't, so one of them is more worth the value of the other, go fuck yourself. The Last of Us has a very different focus than games like Grand Theft Auto and Metal Gear Solid 5. It's hugely story-driven. Now, it's painful to put Metal Gear Solid on the flip side of that because Metal Gear has always been a hugely story-driven game, arguably one of the best stories ever told in video games, but they chose to go a different route. Now, in that context, could we make the argument that it shouldn't have gone open world? Absolutely. Or that because they did the gameplay so well, yeah, it makes a good argument for why games should go open world? Absolutely. Both of these arguments work perfectly with that. But The Last of Us works perfectly the way it is, and it's well worth the price of admission, well worth the $60. Even with its lackluster multiplayer, it's still a hugely emotional storyline that anybody can sit down and play and enjoy. If you're one of those jackasses that are going to say, well, I saw a cutscene during the course of the game, so it's a movie, I don't even have words to argue that, but I have heard that argument before. It's a game. with emphasis on story. But the way the game unfolds works perfectly for the story that they're trying to tell. Now, this year, and I can't believe I didn't realize this till 2 days ago because I have a pre-order on the collector's edition and I've been hugely excited for it. I just found out that Mirror's Edge Catalyst is apparently an open world game, which I was completely unaware of. They have done a great job of not talking about that fact. And does it work for that game? I'm sure it can, and I am very excited to see what they do for it. A lot of games are going open world. Homefront, which was a railed shooter originally, is getting a sequel that is going to be an open world game. Open world works, but it works very good for a game like Homefront because Homefront, its story doesn't fucking matter. They had short little brief frame-ups at the beginning of each level to sort of set the story and the tone, and then you just had to play, and the gameplay was pretty mediocre, but the storyline was also pretty mediocre. So the point is, Homefront can work perfectly like that. Mirror's Edge could work like that as well. It was about the beauty of the city, and it was very much about the cinematics, the running along the path that you were taking and experiencing the world around you. And to take that small concept from the first game and then turn it into a gigantic concept, that could work perfectly. But by the same token, games have done the exact opposite. Now, some people might disagree with this 100%, that BioShock is not an open world game. It is very linear, but they, too, hugely emphasis on the beauty of the world that you were experiencing. In fact, arguably the main character of the first game wasn't the main character, it was Rapture. But the closed concept to it, the fact that you're experiencing it bit by bit by bit, and even though you have free reign of those areas that you're in, you're still experiencing it sort of dished out to you slowly, so you can have the time to take in each concept that is being handed to you. That worked perfectly for that game, because the experience you got during that game was actually much better by the fact that it wasn't just go do whatever you want. It was come to this place. This place has a story. This place has different things hidden within it that tell of these horrid lives that sort of manifested and played out here. Open world works if that's the kind of story and that's the kind of concept you're going for. It works for that. Linear works the way linear works. If you have a story that really needs to be told over time. Then there are games that have no story and really don't need one at all, like Call of Duty. And I'm not joking about that. I really think Call of Duty should just cut its entire story mode out and just be a multiplayer game. Just boost up every multiplayer experience, because I'm kind of getting bored of torturing literally every foreigner around the world so that America can be free. But that's just my opinion. I didn't ask you a question about should Call of Duty go multiplayer only. No, I just fucking told you. Well, anyway, that's our show for today. If you liked it, like and subscribe. If you didn't, go fuck yourself. And if you want to see more content, I'm currently being a lazy asshole, but I will get around to it in the near future. Thank you very much.